Hi, welcome to Wisecat. Okay, so it's time for us to have a little bit of a sneak peek at Moodle 5.0. But first, before we do, I'm also going to just review a few things in 4.5 so that I can show that there is actually a difference, and I'd like to sort of compare and contrast. So if you are not interested in reviewing what's happening in 4.5, I will actually leave some timestamps in the description below afterwards, so you can skip across to 5.0 or the parts that you're actually interested in. Okay, with that said, let's get going. So I'm going to bring up my Moodle here. I built a Moodle that's in 4.5 at the moment, and let's take a bit of a look. Okay, I'm going to shrink myself down. Boom, boom. Now, I got a lot of things to actually talk about. This Moodle though, I actually set it up, added a course or two. Also, inside of here, inside of the AI providers, I have actually configured an OpenAI provider here, and also have courses, several courses including duplicates. You'll see why a little bit later. And here in Teaching with Moodle 101 here, for example, if I go to the course description, I can get a AI generated responses to the summary, and also text generation is set up. I do not have image generation because I'm running an Ollama server using the OpenAI API at the moment. So anyway, this works just fine. So that's what I've got set up at the moment. So if we're looking through a few things that we're expecting, things that are supposed to have changed, for example, when you add an image, up until Moodle 4.5, which this is 4.5, if you go in here and you edit settings, and in the auto editor, if we go in here and we want to edit the image, you can see that here I've got the image is actually the alt text. You know, image is decorative only. Don't do that. That's bad. It hurts people who are using screen readers. But if we come down here and go, sorry, I've got to grab my other. Where the heck did it go? There. If I grab, I did use Lava to actually generate an AI generated alt text for this image. But if I try to paste that in here, you see that I run into a problem. There are several, it stops midway through. Several different sizes and poses the ducks, it says. There aren't actually different sizes, but that's okay. It's an AI generated image. It's close. Some are closer and some are further away. Anyway, this is limited to 125 characters. Now, a picture says 1,000 words. Now, 1,000 words is going to be more than 125 characters. So if you actually want to have Moodle communicating to people what the images are, alt text, you're going to need more than 125 characters. That's fixed. Okay, back to my notes. Here we go. Other things is AI is going to be able to provide some of these alt text. There's more on that a little bit later. Let's see, what else have we got to look at? Oh, okay. Also, in here we have this RecordRTC stuff. And this is really cool because you can actually record audio content directly into the Moodle. So if I'm recording this right now, I can just say, hey, stop recording anytime. And that has actually created some audio that we can now play again. The Moodle. So if I'm recording this right now, I can just say, hey, stop recording anytime. Okay, I don't know actually how that sounded to you guys, because I actually have my speakers switched off at the moment, but it should have been audible. Anyway, I can attach that and put that in. If I save and return to course though, if we actually have a look at this audio that was actually embedded, let's see if I can inspect it. Let's have a look in here. This is a VJS and stuff like that. What I really want to do is just see the... come on, I don't want to go into the other side of things like this, but... where's the file? Where's the file? It's in here somewhere, but it's an OGG. It will be an OGG by default. Oh man, that's what I was saying. Okay, anyway, take my word on this. I'm on Linux and everything. This will have recorded as an OGG file. Now, OGG files are great. They're open source format and everything like that. One problem, Apple doesn't really support them, so anyone looking at it on an iPhone is not going to be able to hear this audio. Oh, there it is. Hey, it just tooltipped it. Oh, great. So you can see it's a 61939 blah, 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 the dash audio.ogg, OGG. And that OGG is the problem here because some users on some devices aren't going to be able to listen to that audio. It'll just bug out for them. So one of the cool things is that you can now set that to just use MP3s. So we can test that in a few minutes as well. Other things that are coming in, TinyMCE disables plugins by role. The new question bank is coming in. So actually I've made myself a little quiz here. It's an NGSL quiz. And if I preview this quiz, you can see it's just got a few questions. Someone who depends on another for a dependent. Well, that was simple. Okay, next one. To make up or be part of someone. Odd. Okay, fine. And frequency on. Oh, that one's right. No, I want to get it wrong. Because I want to get submit and finish, and let's see my response. Okay, yeah, kind of shabby. You might want to brush up on your vocab. Thank you very much for the tip. That's great. I can summarize that as well. And the assessment finished in blah, 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 etc., etc. AI is working fine. Okay, the reason I added this NGSL quiz, though, was actually so that I would have a populated question bank, because the question bank is changing in 5.0. You might have seen in a previous video where I'm talking about 4.6, and yeah, Moodle 4.6 is a thing. But anyway, it had the new question bank structure. So I'm interested to see what happens when upgrading a Moodle in place. What happens to this? Because I've got my questions categories, I've got subcategories, and then I've got 3 distractors subcategory. And inside of there, I've got bands of which vocab items and which numbers they're going to come into. They're split into subcategories and subcategories of 30 questions each. And so I've got about 150 questions in this one. This one's only one part of that actually entire list. If you're interested in the new general service list, by the way, that's it. New general service list.org. Charlie Brown, Bent Colligan. They maintain these lists and everything, and they are awesome. If you're a language teacher, I highly recommend you check that out. They've got a lot of other stuff too. Anyway, plugs aside, I want to see what happens to this question bank when the Moodle is upgraded underneath it. So that's why I've created this stuff here. Okay, so that's basically the look at 4.5. If we look at the plugins and look at, say, text editors, TinyMCE editor and RecordRTC, you can see that, one of the things that came in 4.5, I believe, was the ability to do screen recordings. So that's pretty cool too. But there's no option here to choose what file format at the moment. But that's going to change in 5.0, apparently. Anyway, let's go ahead and upgrade this Moodle to 5.0 and see what happens. So this is going to be just sort of I'm going to half do it correctly, but I'm also going to do it incorrectly. So if you're looking to upgrade your Moodle to 4.5, wait a minute. I think there's a duck has something to say about that. Quack, 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 quack. Here he comes. Don't try this at home. Right? Because whereas apart from the git checkout command, everything that I'm doing here is pretty well the way that you would actually do it. Moodle, I'm going to be checking out the main branch of the repository. So that's something I do not recommend anyone does ever. All right? Especially, well, not in a production environment anyway. So don't try this at home. I'm doing it here so you don't have to. All right, with that said, let's get on to our little upgrade here. So as with any upgrades, we're going to go to the plugins overview first, and we're going to check and make sure that there are no available updates in our plugins. And there are other ways of doing this as well if you don't have auto deployment enabled on your site, which you might not. But anyway, I don't have any additional plugins on this Moodle because it's a test Moodle, so no problems there. The next thing that we're going to want to do is go to our environment under server environment and check to make sure that we have everything we need for 5.0 upwards. And we can see in here, everything is a-okay, not a problem at all. I'm running PHP 8.2, and 8.2 is the minimum required version, I believe, for maybe 8.2.0 is required. So for Moodle 5.0, that's one that you might hit and with a problem. If you do, please upgrade your PHP before you upgrade your Moodle. Actually, the latest current version of PHP is 8.4, but it's not supported by Moodle yet, so 8.2 would be a good place to stop at the moment. 8.3, you can go there after, say, upgrading to 5.0. But anyway, I'm not going to touch the PHP today because I'm golden. Postgres, I'm running Postgres 15, and that's fine as well, so I'm good to go. All right, with that checked, now I can just go ahead and do my commands for upgrading the Moodle. So I'm going to bring in a terminal. Here's a terminal I prepared earlier, so to speak. Okay, and in here, I'm going to do this sort of properly. First step, though, that I am going to skip is taking a full backup. Yeah, you should totally take a full backup. Back up the Moodle www root, the Moodle data directory, and the SQL database. You need to take a PostgreSQL dump or a MySQL dump and dump that file down so that you have a backup before you do anything. That would be a really good idea. I'm not going to do that right now because this is a disposable server and I couldn't be bothered, quite frankly. But what I will do is I will go, okay. One thing that I do advise you do as well, sudo -u www-data, PHP up, a little bit of, we want to get some admin. By the way, I'm in the Moodle directory here, /CLI/maintenance.php-enable. You should absolutely put your Moodle into maintenance mode, especially if it's a production one, because you don't want to have people writing to the SQL database while you're doing an upgrade. That is bad karma. So don't do that. So that would be the first command. The next command that we want to do is perhaps do a git pull. This is fairly fresh, so there's probably nothing in there. Yeah, already up to date, so that's good. And if you did have something to update, you'd run the upgrade to PHP. But I can skip to the next step, which is git checkout. And here's the part where Ducky's going to make another appearance and say, don't try this at home, because what we want to do is check out, say, Moodle 5.0.0 stable. And that's not what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is going git checkout main, because I'm going to check out the main branch. Right, boom, there we go. Now, I'm going to go to, this time, admin/CLI. I'm going to run as www-data upgrade.php. And it's going to say, you know, this is a unstable release candidate development code. This is not for use on Moodle on most production sites. That's too narrow. That's why this is formatting weird. Right, on most production sites. If this is not what you wanted, then you should make sure you are updating from stable branch like that. And there are like versions and stuff like that. All right. So I am wanting to do this, but again, like the duck said, don't try this at home unless you're doing it on a test server, on a Vagrant or something like that, where you can just update it and then throw it away afterwards, because it's disposable. It's just for testing purposes and things like that. You don't want to upgrade to main. That is all, you know, unless you really know why you're upgrading to main. Upgrading to main's a bad idea. Okay, here we go. And you can see some of these new things are coming in as well. Grade penalties are coming in. That's a new feature as well, where a grade penalty is talking about if you have an assignment or a quiz or something and it gets attempted or submitted late, then you can automatically assign a penalty to that and say, hey, you know, take off 10% off the top or something like that. overridden grade, I guess, is needed for that. Pre-create period, pre-create attempts. This is a feature. I love this feature. This is going to be so awesome. So definitely going to mention that one a little bit later in this video, actually. So let's go and check it out. Now that has upgraded. Now we're on 5.0 release candidate 1. Yay. So we have to take it out of maintenance mode now. So maintenance mode command and disable. Disable. That's not the French spelling. All right, here we go. So now the site is running normally again. Well, as normal as can be. Let's refresh and have a look. Moodle 5, yeah. Okay, so in Moodle 5, one of the things that I'm noticing straight away is, first of all, the fonts have changed a little bit. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. All right. Oh, complete your site registration. I am not registering this site because I am this is a test server, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna skip that. Oh, but wait a minute. I want to have a look at something in there because one of the things that I knew was mentioned before. The following information will be sent. This is if you do register. And by the way, I do totally recommend you register your site. Register your site, notify, also check this one here. Yes, notify me of new Moodle releases, security alerts, and other important news. You want to get these emails. These are good, helpful emails. Expert tips and insights. Marketing emails. Okay, you might not want those, but agree to the privacy notice and data processing. They're pretty good. They tell you right here everything that you're actually getting. And so one of the things that they were saying is the AI usage stats is going to be a bit more descriptive here. I guess if you have... Okay, I guess that hasn't quite been released yet. But yeah, this is going to become a bit clearer apparently later on if... that just isn't in this release candidate at the moment. But it's coming where they're going to be a little bit more descriptive on what exactly they're doing it. It's all anonymized site stats, and actually I've looked at the code for the AI one because I was a little concerned about it. They don't send you queries or anything. They send the number of queries and things like that just to find out which providers are being used the most and stuff like that. Those are useful stats for developers, so I wouldn't begrudge them that. It's one small way where you can give back to the community. Anyway, let's not give back right now because this would be useless information for them, I guess, because this is just a test server. All right, teaching with Moodle 101. Here is my course. And if I look in here, everything's looking pretty similar. Okay, this is our OG, right? If I hover over, I can still see an OG. Let's record another one. Edit settings. And inside here, I am going to record one more underneath that. Now I haven't changed any settings, so it'll probably record as an OG again. But we don't actually know. Stop that recording. Okay, attach that recording. I don't really need to look at it. What I'm interested in is what's the file format. Another OG. Okay, so let's see if we can actually change what recording it's going to be. So apparently I'm able now to come into plugins. I need to go to plugins. And down in the text editors area, under the RecordRTC settings, there should be a new setting in here. Whew, there it is. Look at that. And that's why I'm getting OGs, is because I'm using Firefox on Linux. So that's going to be open source all the way, which I love and everything. But, the world is full of Apple, so we can change that to MP3 now. And if I do that, now, if I go back to my course, that should actually change it to saying, hey, you can record and it won't be an OG anymore. So let's edit settings. Let's add one more audio file here. Audio file. Okay. Last one here. Recording. Start recording. Let's see. Are you going to work? Are you MP3ing it up? Let's see. Stop recording. That's enough. Okay. Attach recording. And I am not terribly fast. Okay, there are 3 in there at the moment. I'm not, just remember, the one on the bottom is the one that should be an MP3. Let's hover. Okay, first one, OG. Second one, OG. Third one, MP3. I like it. Does it actually work though? Let's. I'm going to turn that volume down and let's try playing it. Start recording. Let's see. Yeah, that seems to be working just fine. Okay, great. Wonderful. So now, from this point onwards, anytime I'm recording in here, it's not going to retroactively convert all the OGs to MP4s or MP3s, but when I record audio, it's going to be an MP3 format, which is pretty much universally playable. So that is a massive improvement. Thank you very much, Moodle. That was a great idea. Okay, what other goodies have we got? Now, we did want to have a look at the question banks. Ooh, so now we've got Teaching with Moodle 101 shared question bank. This question bank was created automatically when the site was upgraded. Cool. And other activities with questions. These activities also contain questions, but they can't be shared. Really? Okay. Okay, so there's something. Ooh, AI features. That's a drop down now. Oh, summarize and explain. Explain, please explain. Now we've got the explain thing. Cool. Something went wrong. I guess so, because I haven't configured the explain thing yet. So actually, that should not be popping up, I don't think. So okay, that might be a little bit weird. The summarize one should work because I have actually configured that. Generating a response. There it is. Preview time was blah, 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 blah. Great. Okay, so that's working. Does the quiz itself still work? The quiz itself does still work. That is great. Yay, adequate. That is definitely adequate. Let's do digital hunt. How did I do this time? Not too shabby. Okay. Before it was too shabby and now it's not too shabby. Gotta love feedback, right? Let's see. AI features. Summarize. What's it say? Feedback provided. Not too shabby. Oh, you're just quoting me there. That sucks. All right. If I regenerated it, it'd probably do better. Let's do the regenerate. Yeah. Feedback noted, not too shabby. Okay. Before I've seen it actually generated, it says like the feedback indicated that the performance was adequate. Stuff like that. It was a very, very harsh way of saying it. But all right. All right. Let's have a look now at this question bank again. Go to see. Oh, okay. So that's the question bank inside of this. Okay. Categories. This is just inside the quiz. Okay. So that's the quizzes question bank, and you can't get to the courses question bank from here by the looks of it, because the courses question bank is actually question banks now. So, okay. Let's go back up and. That's still the quiz, sorry. And let's go all the way up to the top and go to question banks. There are the question banks. This is the one that's been converted over automatically. Also shows questions from subcategories. Let's stop that from happening. Okay, so the categories, it seems, are preserved. They are perfectly preserved like that. I've got my tree in there and everything, and even the description of the category and everything has remained. So that is pretty cool. That is looking like that's working just fine. Apparently this change is going to make the question banks themselves a lot more shareable. I'm not exactly sure yet how to do that, but it's going to be pretty cool if we can take question banks and say, you know, I don't know, from here, like, assign roles. I guess that's one way to share them. But we can perhaps export and import these, or copy these across as modules themselves and things like that. That is something I'm interested in seeing what happens. So watch this space on that one. In particular, I've seen some courses where the current way of sharing is you share, site level or category level question banks and things like that. And when you have, say, 50 courses in the Moodle, and then you want to duplicate them for the next semester or something, and all of those questions can be duplicated and duplicated and duplicated again, exponential growth into gigabytes and gigabytes of replicated data. So if it can help that, I mean, ideally what I'd like to see is the ability to have this quiz be imported into another course and not have the entire question bank going, just the questions that are needed for this quiz to be in its own little question bank. And I'm thinking that's probably the direction it's headed in. So we'll see. Probably a good one for a later video once I know what's going on with that, because I don't. Anyway, it's working, which is perhaps the most important thing. Ooh, new icons. Bulk actions icon is a new icon, new set of icons. Cool. Okay. So they polished the interface a bit. All right, what's next to check out? Oh, of course, AI. My AI is actually working, but let's go in and have a look at the provider screen. Whew. All right, so there's my existing one here, and look at this. It's create a new provider instance, and I can create a second OpenAI API provider instance if I want, or I can create an Ollama API provider. Ollama's here. Yay! Thank you. Yes. Do I know how to use it? No, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Right yet? No. Anyway, I'm going to add that a little bit later. First, let's go into this OpenAI AI provider and see if anything's changed in here. I got my key, which I think is just random stuff. But okay, and this one here, this action here is arrived. Explain text. It is switched on by default, which is perhaps a little weird because it has. Okay, this is not great, but let's see. Can I change this across? Let's see. TARDIS colon 11434. That's my current address. Get rid of that. I guess I want to go to custom. Let's see, Gemma 3 colon, what am I on? 12 billion parameters or something. That's about what I'm using. Oh, and look at this. You can also set the extra parameters here. So we can say, hey, the temperature, we could support JSON format. So yeah, you can add things like top K, top P, max tokens, temperature, and stuff like that. Just put it in some JSON and stick it in there. Sweet, that's nice. All right, so now my explain text should actually work a bit better. All right, so actually the prompt you can also see in here. You'll receive text from your task is to explain the provided text, follow these guidelines. Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. You know what would actually be cool is if you could just generate your own things like this. That'd be nice. Can you? Like just have a blank template for actions. That'd be kind of nice, so that you could create these yourself, because these seem to be basically the same thing. If I wanted, for example, to change what this action does, then I just change the system instruction and the settings. I mean, this is sort of like making a model file, and you could make your own model files and things like that. Yep, I would venture a guess that that is probably on the roadmap to change this to something where you can just say an action and it just does it. Anyway, it would be nice to have that. Add it to my wish list. Okay, so that's my AI providers thing there done. If I now go back to the course and go, say, in here and go course description, and now with AI features, the explain one should also work. Let's see that it does. Please explain. Explain. If you get that reference, you're probably Australian. Ooh, that is a more in-depth explanation for sure. The purpose of this training is to blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay, beauty. All right, so that's AI explain and AI summarize. Oh, it doesn't actually remove the explain. It just adds on to it. Cool. Nice implementation. I like that. That it doesn't get rid of the summary does the summary and the AI explain does the AI explain, but it doesn't override each other. That is nice. All right, let's go back in there. More for the AI placements. That changed? Nope. Seems pretty much the same. Okay, course assistance is you've got your options here. AI actions are available. Text editor placement. Yep, I don't have any generate image capability because I'm using Ollama. Speaking of which, let's create a new provider instance and see if we can see how easy it is to configure my Azure. No, thank you. Ollama. Okay, name for instance. My Llama. No. 2 L's, 1 M. Whoops. All right. API endpoint. The API endpoint for the Ollama API server. Okay. Not very. No. Guys. On the. I'm pretty sure if you go to OpenAI one, it did. Interesting. Well, it did pre-populate that before. So the API endpoint is not being pre-populated here. Okay. So that's gonna make it harder. That's gonna make it harder for people. Because, yeah, that's okay. I'm not terribly happy with that because you gave the support of actually filling in openai.com, api.openai.com for the OpenAI one, and here Ollama is not getting that. Come on, a little bit more support here. Okay, let's try it. TARDIS, we'll just call it that. Okay, the Ollama API should be HTTP, no S, sorry. Force of habit, I just type the S automatically. Okay, TARDIS :11434 /API/generate. Now, I don't actually know if this is correct. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I don't know that. Okay, next setting, basic authentication. Nice. This is very nice. Okay, so basic authentication is a simple way of, I'm pretty sure this means the basic authentication in the web server. So if you have Ollama, you'd set up an Nginx or maybe a traffic or something like that, and you might have a basic authentication with a username and password so that only authenticated things can do it. Mine's on a LAN, so I don't need that, but that is definitely nice to have because that means that you can have them actually have the interface facing the outside internet, and you can protect it with basic authentication. So that is a very nice touch because Ollama doesn't actually have an API key sort of thing for protecting it. So this is very much implementation focused. So that one's definitely a good one. And the same limits as we had with the other one. So, okay, let's do that. Okay, OpenAI provider. Let's go down to settings here. Generate text summary. Oh, interesting. The actions here. We do not have actions for generate image. Summarize image might come sometimes later, but because lava definitely exists. Okay, so inside here, these are all enabled by default. Let's see, settings. Ooh, nice. So, okay, it's choosing a generation model directly for me, but I can actually specify which one I want. So I might just go Gemma 3 :1 billion. I've got that model as well, and it's very fast. So, lightweight one. And I can add my additional parameters here. can add extra parameters as JSON there. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, summary. In the summary one, okay, so its settings are like mirror stat, temperature, seed, top K, top P. So these are appearing as text inputs here. When I change to custom, okay, custom is now gives you more control, but format in JSON, please, because okay, we're not going to make a form that limits you. That's cool enough. I'm just going to leave it as basic. Okay, explain. Please explain text. I'm also going to change this one as well to custom. Llama 3.3. I'm not sure that I even have Llama 3.3. Anyway. Okay, so I can also, for each of the actions, I can choose it. So, for example, for explain text, I might want a strong AI or something. Generate text, I might want a weak one. Or, I can choose which models have, maybe explain text. I might want to use, say, one of the chain of thought models like DeepSeek or something for this one. Whereas summarize, I might want just a simple and a smaller model to do that. So the ability to change the model and the parameters, everything on an action basis, is very nice. I like that. Okay, so update into instance, I guess it's updated. Okay, and now I can enable that one. Ooh, and there we go. We've got the order too. Order. Ooh, nice. So I guess the order, meaning it's going to try this one first and then... Okay, so let's move the OpenAI one down. Now OpenAI is down at the bottom. Okay. So let's see what happens when we go to the course and run it. Boom. Course description, AI features. Let's see what happens. Summarize. Something went wrong. Okay, that's not great. Okay. All right. I'm gonna guess that I probably messed up the API thing there. Right. Okay, and we don't have any Ollama API provider. The API endpoint for the Ollama API server. Is that not it? Gemma 3.1b. I think I might pause for a second and see if I can figure out what's going on here. Okay, so that was a trip. Okay, so looking on the tracker item for this, I actually found this comment here where they're talking about the endpoint shouldn't have a trailing slash and there are language strings and everything talking about. So wait a minute. Whoa. So that's the endpoint. There is usually your domain followed by /API/generate. But what did I do? Anyway, that endpoint stuff, that's a little bit off. All right. So if we go to the actual settings here. Total settings, the correct setting is not to have... Alright, so that's not an API endpoint. So this is asking me for an API endpoint, but actually it's asking for it should perhaps say here, Ollama server URL, because actually that /API/generate 8. I mean, there are two that are probably, I would expect to be used here, either /API/generate or /API/chat. But you have to remove those. So it's just the bare URL for the Ollama thing. So that's an interesting thing. It's not a API endpoint, it's URL and the port number for where it's going to send it. Moodle will add the /API/generate or the /API/chat as required, it seems. Okay, a little bit weird for the generation, but once I change that, boom, it's actually working now. So, okay, great. Let's try about the please explain one. AI explain. Oh, that was AI explain. Summarize. AI summary. There's a summary created. There's a summary. There's a, yeah, okay. And of course they're blazing fast because I'm using a very, very small model there. Interestingly, when I had them both enabled, when the top one failed, it didn't fail over to the second one, because the OpenAI API should have perhaps caught that and then processed it instead, I would have expected. So not exactly sure if this order is doing much at the moment. Maybe, let me try this. Okay, if I disable explain here, and then generate and summarize is there. But if I display okay, do I need to update? Well, I have updated anyway. And if I come down to Open API, okay, I don't really want it to generate, but okay, it's not generating. It's just going to do the summarize. But it also has the ability to explain. Now let's see, in order, I would expect that that's going to use AI summary. It's going to use one model for summary and one unit model for explaining. Let's try that again. Okay, so that I think was probably the small one. And this one's taking a lot longer. So that would be the OpenAI one. Okay. So that's nice to have for sure. But I would kind of have expected that if one of these failed, instead of producing an error, it tries to grab the next one in the list, the next provider in the list, and if that one can do it, then okay. So it's not a failover, but if you switch the top one off, then you can switch it'll go on to the next provider the first provider that it can for grabbing that. I guess that's okay. Room for improvement, but yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Well, I've got the other tracker issues open as well. Let's have a bit more of a look. I'm going to go back to my notes. What have I got here? Other things. So, oh yes. Going to my courses again. If I go back into my course, the alt text thing, right? So we have this alt text thing. If we edit the settings here, now we come in here and let's do this edit the image. And now our alt text is up to a full 750 characters. Wow. Okay, that is massive. So now I can go, I still think 750 characters. Okay. 1,000 words, guys. It's the saying is a picture is worth 1,000 words. There was a perfect opportunity to apply that that historical knowledge and fine, 750, okay. A 750 at least, I think, should give me the opportunity to add my... Oh, where did I put it? Yeah, okay, I should be able to paste this in now. So let's paste it, and there we go. The whole thing, yeah, all the way down to depicted is there. The image does not contain any text, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. And so I can save that now, and I can save my full alt text. Apparently, if you did, let's generate text. If you did generate an image as well, let's see, AI, yeah, the AI provided now can actually be used to generate, when you generate an image, so this is AI generated image, then it can fill its own alt text in there. And it adds a little generated by AI too, so that's kind of cool. All right, but the thing that it doesn't do, yeah, the thing that it doesn't do. So what it does here, and this is actually pretty interesting, is that describe the image you want to generate, AI to generate. You type in Moodle Moot. It's not going to use Moodle Moot as the thing, the alt text, because what image generating AIs typically do is they'll take your prompt And then first of all, they'll put it through a texting to improve that prompt and turn it into a better prompt. And after that, it will have that better prompt that it uses to create the image. So if we go next one here, maybe previous image. Yeah. Maybe previous on that one. Okay, well, this will do. Anyway, this would be the prompt that a gathering of individuals who are interested in the Moodle learning platform, blah, 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 blah. So this would be what the AI generated in order to generate this image. So that's what's going to be added. But unfortunately, this only works thus far for AI generated image. It doesn't actually do it for existing images, and I think that would be an awesome opportunity for using, say, the Ollama API as well, because Ollama does have Lava, which is a way that you can load an image into Ollama and get out a text description. So using that to do AI generation for alt text is something that I'm really looking forward to using. So guys, if you're working on that, I'm a big fan of your work because I would love to see that happen. All right, so what else have we got? I have actually opened a few of these things. These are the tracker issues for new features and things. So the Ollama plugin is in. That's cool. It works. The only key thing that you got to be careful of is when you go and configure the provider, make sure that you do not add any additional parts. You know, no slash API, no slash anything. Just finish up at the end of the URL. All right. So that's Ollama. Use provider alt text. We've covered that one. AI provider instances. Yeah, so this is the thing. It's a simple part of it, but the idea being in here, if I have a second Ollama server, I can create a second Ollama API provider instance here. So I could have multiple APIs, multiple Ollama servers with multiple APIs doing multiple things. I can have one that does the summary, and another one that does the explanation. Or maybe I have one that I just want to focus on image to text generation in the future and things like that. That is nice. Being able to have multiple versions. One of the things that I'm happy about is that in particular with the OpenAI one, because as well, you might have multiple OpenAI accounts, some that you want to use for text-based stuff and others that you want to use for graphics, graphic generation. So being able to split them up is definitely a benefit. All right. So AI per model settings. Yeah, those are the settings that we saw when we were configuring it. The temperature, the top K, top P, those sorts of things like that. So able to control that, definitely awesome. I also love the fact that it has, okay, one of the things that I did love in here was when you're actually configuring the different actions, for example. If you went, say, your default thing here, now it'd be nice if there were a few more models offered here in this list. But when you go like that, it gives you a bunch of standard stuff. Right? Yeah, these are settings that you might typically want to change. The top K, ooh, with tooltips, cool. That is very nice. Good to have this explanation because these can be very, very, what the heck is top P? Top P, bottom P, left P, right P. No. It doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but to say, hey, this temperature, this is, how random or creative it can be, that is good information to have supplied right there. And then to be able to change that to custom and say, hey, this is how you format that again. Yeah, this is very nice. I like how this is implemented because even though this is JSON, which is typically a little bit tricky for people, it works. It works. I like it. I like it very much. This is adequate support. This part here, API endpoint, not quite adequate support. So definitely a bit more information there would have been nice. All right. So anyway, being able to do per model settings is also awesome. That's great to have that freedom. And especially when you have multiple settings, you might have, you know, one set of settings for explaining and one set of settings for summarizing and things like that. You can easily see how having the control over those different settings is going to be very useful. Okay, definitely want to get to this one maybe next. TinyMCE though. Let's talk about TinyMCE next. All right, so wait a minute. I did talk about TinyMCE briefly when we were talking about the ability to have TinyMCE. Sorry, if we go into the text, the plugins, text editors. Okay, so here are your TinyMCE settings. Let's go TinyMCE settings here. Oh, and IMHO is gone. Rest in peace, IMHO. Farewell. Anyway, on to TinyMCE. You can actually have additional... So the TinyMCE has an API as well to TinyMCE premium plugins. And if you have an account, you can add you make your own account. By the way, you can actually have a free account, like 14 days with the advanced plugins and everything for free. So the TinyCloud account page, you can go and get on a free trial or something like that and check it out and see if you want it. But all of these plugins come with that. The thing is that TinyCloud account page, I'm probably logged in actually because we're playing with it a bit earlier. No, I'm not. It doesn't matter. Anyway. If you come here, if we go to plans and pricing, you can see that they're actually talking about editor loads, how many times the editor loads per month. It's cloud hosted, blah, 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 blah. This is, you know, the free version. But if you've only got, say, $1,000, 1,000 editor loads per month, and then you're going to be charged for it. Well, if you've got a university where you're paying for it for, you know, 20,000 people or something like that, you might not want to have everybody have access to the premium plugins and the premium loading. Because also using these things tends to, in particular, I guess there are some of them where you'd want to limit who can actually do these things. So apparently now there is a way to actually limit this by role. And okay, so it's not on the TinyMCE editor pages. It's probably then in user, say system roles or something. You define a role or something. You'd say, okay, students, we don't want them to use the tiny stuff. Let's try this. Filter tiny. Okay, there's nothing on tiny in there. Let's try text. That's AI-based ones. Let's have a look over here in TinyMCE here. Let's see, to test this we want to go site admin users permissions define roles, edit the authenticated user role. Okay. Okay, edit the teacher role and enable and stuff like that. So let's have a look in here. Define roles. Let's go back to authenticated user. Go. Sure. Let's go in there. Okay. And tiny. Aha. So it's probably because these need to be, I guess, system level, site level. It's a bit weird, but anyway, being able to disable each of these plugins. So TinyMCE autosave, is that allowable? Is the equation editable? You know, all of these different ones. And here, TinyMCE Premium. There's a general one for TinyMCE Premium, indeed. All right. So if we just set, don't allow for TinyMCE Premium for authenticated users, and then we can just say, okay, If you're a teacher, then you can use it. That is a pretty good level of control, if not a little bit tricky to get into. Okay. Anyway, that's where that is. And that struck me as an interesting one, because anything where you're talking about you're paying for some sort of service outside and you want to be able to control who can actually get those goodies, that is, in my mind, a good thing. So I thought that one was actually noteworthy and mentionable here. Okay. Now, the reason why, in my mind at least, Mark Johnson gets the Moodler of the Month award, and well, maybe not just him. Yeah. Assignee is Mark Johnson for this one. New quiz attempt states an asynchronous crimped attempt creation. Okay, that sounds weird, but if you read through it, you get what's actually going to happen. So at the moment, in Moodle, we have a bit of a problem sometimes arises where you have a quiz and you're trying to get, say, 300, 400 people to take that quiz. And when they click on attempt quiz, that causes a lot of things to happen. The quiz itself is generated. If you have random questions, the random questions are chosen from the question bank. So the entire question bank, so there's a lot of SQL queries that happen, and it can bottleneck like crazy. So if you've got, say, 100, then you'll be pretty well taxing a standard install of MySQL with 100. Over 100, 200, 300, and it gets worse if you have a lot of a very short quiz, maybe only 1 or 2 questions or so. So you'll have students who are actually finishing the attempts right at the moment that a bunch of other students are starting. So a big concentration of traffic and processing can happen. And that can cause Moodles to lock up. It has been known to happen. It's been fairly well documented. I myself have done some research into this using Tomoya Saito, who was the plenary speaker at Moodle Association of Japan's Moodle Moot this year as well. He created a JMeter test that actually simulated hundreds of students taking tests, taking quizzes in rapid succession. And I've run that JMeter test before, and yeah, I can confirm your quizzes lock up. Your Moodle will lock up. The server will be completely locked up. And that's the thing, is it's not overloading the server necessarily. The RAM is not filled up, or the processor is not overloaded or anything like that. The SQL access has become the bottleneck. And it's typically the SQL access that screws up there. There are some ways of mitigating it, but simply put, being able to have the quizzes generated beforehand, sort of cached in the SQL database, and then just have it being a simple read. We already, we've pre-decided which random questions you're getting. Just read them out. that is going to improve performance amazingly. This is, I have seen so many people getting, having troubles with this specific problem, that this inclusion into Moodle 5.0 is awesome. This is one that I saw and I thought, I want this now. I'm mid-semester now, so I'm not going to upgrade for a while, but I want this today. This is awesome. So if you're in a context where you're actually trying to do a large number of quizzes simultaneously, you're definitely going to benefit from this particular one. So this is a massive improvement. Unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate it, but what I can do is look in here and go to the quiz settings, and the settings should have an additional setting in here. Timing. Nope. Shouldn't this have another setting? Ooh, I might need to enable this in the settings somewhere. So let's see how we get to use this. This is how I learn how to figure these things out. Okay, so somewhere in the site administration, there's probably got to be a preload attempt setting or something like that. Somewhere in here. Quiz. Okay, quiz, mod quiz. There we go. Attempt graded pre-notification delay. Delay is applied before sending attempt graded notifications to allow time for the teacher to edit the grade. Okay, that's not exactly what I want. Oh, here we go. Pre-create period. Do not pre-create attempts. Well, nah. You can choose how long beforehand it's going to pre-create. Let's go 12 hours or something. That way, if you have a test that's starting at 10 a.m., it'll be made at 10 p.m. the previous day. Well, maybe that's not as like 7 hours or 6 hours might be a good idea. Actually, maybe 8 hours. So that way, even if it's at 5 p.m., it'll be made around about 9 p.m., 9 a.m. or something before the day starts. Scheduled task, huh? Okay. Runs each hour by the default. Oh, interesting. Since quizzes cannot be edited once they have attempts, it's best to keep this period as short as possible. Okay. So this is when it's going to generate these attempts. Okay. Multiple attempt quizzes, though. If you have several starting at different times throughout the day and wish all pre-creation to happen when the system is quiet and overnight, you may wish to set this to longer periods such as 12 hours and adjust the scheduled task. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, you can adjust the scheduled task to only run during quiet hours. Okay, so that's... okay, this setting is controlled at site level, can't be overridden by individual quizzes. Okay. Alright, so this is definitely a welcome change. So, I mean, I also use a lot of quizzes as, having the students take them every now and again. I guess this is going to be switch offable. So if I just say pre-create period 8 hours, I am going to guess, because it's talking about, okay, attempts are created, quiz open time. Okay, so you would need to have an open time to which this 8 hours applies. Makes sense. Okay. Alright, so anyway, if I save that, let's save that. Boom. Okay, let's go back to the course, shall we? Well, I'll go to my courses, teaching with Moodle 101. Here we go. I am going to, just a second, I'm going to pause it. Okay, so if we go to these settings in here now, let's see what I would expect. Timing perhaps. Oh, there's a show more button there. And show less, and that does not seem to have changed anything. Okay, let me see. This is show more, so less, but I don't actually have an open the quiz time. So if I click this, aha, there we have it. Pre-create attempts set to no. Okay, and it's locked. Right. Maybe that's because this is not, say, tomorrow. If I set this for, say, in a couple of weeks or something, let's see what happens there. Locked. Why is that locked? Quiz questions cannot be modified once a quiz has attempts. Okay, that's good too, but let me see. Okay, save and display. Alright, settings, timing, show more. Still locked, so it's locked off. Why is this locked off? I set this to 8 hours. Pre-create attempts. Okay, here we go. Advanced and locked. Okay, let's get rid of the... okay. I might want to get rid of both advanced and locked. The advanced puts it behind the show more link, right? Pre-recoding, okay, and we'll say yes by default. Oh, maybe you don't want that by default. You want to have, but let's see, how does it look when we refresh this screen now? Okay, timing, there it is. Pre-create attempts, no, yes, 8 hours before quiz open time. And now 8 hours before that time, that would work. Okay, what if I get rid of the open time? Yep, the option disappears. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, if you've got an open time, you can pre-create attempts 8 hours before or not. Those are your only two options here. That's kind of cool. So if I wanted to do this at, say, 12 a.m., it'll pre-create the attempts. And once the attempts are pre-created, though, that's going to be the same as students actually starting the attempt, in that I won't be able to add questions or remove questions or change questions after that, will I? So that's why they suggest to keep it going. But that's very useful. If you've got 300 students who are going to be taking a test on 20th of April at midday, this will make the performance so much better. Okay, so this is an exciting one. It's interesting that it's... Okay, yeah. I would probably like it to also have it so that if the attempts are pre-created but not started, because they're going to be in the not started state, if then the teacher comes and edits the quiz questions, then I would hope that, for example, if the teacher came in and decided to change the questions that are available, then I would like it to just regenerate those, as an ad hoc task or something like that, regenerate those attempts. Delete the old attempts and regenerate new ones. But that's just me wanting everything. This already, I can see this being a massive, massive help, especially if you've got 400 students and you've got 400 attempts that are being pre-created, so that when the students click go, it'll just pop up. That will be fantastic. That will reduce the SQL bottleneck. Bravo, bravo. This is something that mitigation server side I've seen people struggling with. Bravo. The quiz is going to be great. Okay, so let me check my notes, because I made a few notes about things that I wanted to mention. I think I've reached pretty much the end of the list. This has kind of become a long video. A bit over an hour here. So let me have a look now. Okay, there are other stuff. Let's see. Yep, cover that. Some other things like regrading for final grades and sending of messages are also becoming asynchronous. So yay, the more we can do without, the more you can do without having the potential for a browser session to time out, the better, in terms of things like regrading and behind the scenes processing. So bravo on that stuff. RIP Atto is on my list. Yeah, there is no more Atto. Login as another site admin now possible. Yeah, so previously you weren't able to log in as another user if that other user is a site admin. And I've got an admin here, this admin here, and you can shrink. Oh, I'm pretty big. I'm going to shrink down. You can see that there's a login as button there now. So I, Adam Jenkins, can log in as Leroy Jenkins. All right, so that's an option there. Okay, what else have we got? Generic penalties for late submissions. Yeah. So generic penalties. I'm not sure where those would be set. Let's have a look at the quiz settings, see if there's a setting in here that I missed before. Extra restrictions on attempts, overall feedback, common module settings. Setting common modules, nope. Grade. Grade to pass, blah, blah, blah. Is it in timing? When time expires. Okay, so it's not there for that one. Let's see. Let's go site administration. Let's see if we can find this one, because this one was an interesting one. Penalties. Okay, grade penalties, manage supported activities. Okay, so that's where it is. Manage penalty plugins. Okay, grade penalties. Okay, let's have a look at this. Manage penalty plugins. So late submission penalties is now configurable here. Let's see. All late submissions, penalty is what percentage? Okay, that sounds simple. Existing rules, all late submissions, fixed final penalty rule, let's say 10%. Boom. And now the penalty, all late submissions get a 10% dock. Yeah, hey. Okay. So, where can we actually do this? So this is in grades. Manage penalty plugins and grade penalties. Okay. Enabled activities is just assignment. Right. Okay, so assignment modules supported. Okay, that does not seem clickable or changeable or anything. That seems like, okay. Apply penalty to overridden grades. Okay, so yeah, that's the grade generic penalties for late submissions thing. It's being added as a grade plugin, so that's going to mean that I guess later you can enable it for other activities as well. Okay. Late submission. Oh, you can enable that one. There. Settings are there. These are the rules. Penalty rules. And you can add more. Okay. All right. So if you have a school-wide policy for that sort of stuff, I guess you can configure it there. All right. Things that I probably can't really display, and therefore it's hard to demonstrate. But there are a few more things that I'll just mention before as I wrap up this video. There are enrollment fee display improvements. So if you have enroll by getting a fee, then that is going to be added. Apparently the big blue button icon has been changed. Doesn't look all that different though, so okay. This is disabled by default. Right. Yeah, they don't have the free trial pre-configured anymore, so okay, that makes sense. All right, some of these icons as well, not just these icons, but the icons like the one in the course that we saw in the course for bulk edit stuff. That was in the course for bulk edit, bulk actions. That one was that one's also improved. And one thing that also I think is going to be useful is when you go to manage courses now. Now previously when you had more duplicates, like I've got duplicates, more duplicates or something, there are 3 courses in this category here. Duplicate 1, duplicate 2, duplicate 3. This is actually why I created this one. Now previously, when you clicked on this eye icon, it would just close it and not actually mention anything about, hey, these 3 courses will become inaccessible, yo. But now, apparently, yeah, there it is. The category contains 3 courses. If you hide it, users without permission to view hidden categories will no longer have access to these courses. You know, are you going to cancel that or are you going to hide that? So this is going to prevent people from accidentally hiding multiple courses, I think. So that's a pretty useful one. Now I created the more duplicates category as well. I can hide it just like that, or I can unhide it. And unhiding it is good. Hiding it hides the 2 courses inside. The other thing that I wanted to find out is what happens if you delete a category like this. I never get to do cool stuff like just deleting full categories. Okay, you get the option. Move contents to another category or delete all. Cannot be undone. I'm going to delete all. Why not? Delete. Okay, and there we go. Dupe 4 and Dupe 5. Yep. Okay, so they're just gone like that. Okay, so being able to have that indication is pretty good. Yeah, let me see. Yep. Let's see, category, let's say empty cat. An empty cat, not a wise cat, empty cat. Okay, so that one has no courses in it, hiding that. Yeah, no annoying pop-up for that one. Only when it's going to hide actual courses. Nice, I like it. Alright, so that's a useful one. And the final one that I've got on my list is that the forum emails now will not. So previously, you would get, if you had people subscribe to forums. So the notification settings, for example, if you are subscribed to forum posts and you get an email for, somebody responds to your post or something, and then you get an email about that. Well, the subscribe forum posts used to actually have people doing the email would be sent, regarding this course and then regarding this forum and stuff like this post in this forum and things like that, and it would put RE, the regarding, in front of the topic if you responded to somebody else's post or somebody responded to you. But now they've got rid of that additional re, so that the subject line in the email will remain constant for that post, for that thread. So when people are responding to it, then they won't get emails that are completely disjointed in email clients as well. Technically, I don't think you'd call that necessarily a Moodle improvement, but Moodle playing nice with the other boys and girls in cyberspace, that's kind of nice. So I like the idea that even this level of consideration is being made to make sure that the experience is getting improved. So I thought that one was worthy of mention. All right, so I think I've reached the end of my list. It was a pretty long list, but what did I miss? Feel free to berate me in the comments below if you think I didn't cover your favorite new feature. And hope you're looking for. I'm really looking forward to 5.0 in particular. As I said, that that new quiz attempt states thing. I want this. I want this. All right. Anyway, I'll also leave links to each of these tabs that I opened up here. Oh, maybe not that one. The tracker issues and the different things that I looked at, I will definitely put these links in the description below, along with a whole bunch of timestamps and things like that about different pieces where I'm looking at different pieces. And that's it. That's a sneak peek at Moodle 5.0. So thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, awesome. If not, like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. If not, you're not actually going to see this, are you? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, at that, I am going to maybe get myself another muffin. Cheers. Catch ya.